Hello, Ederson Oliveira here for DNNHero.com, and today we're going to be talking about the new simple registration options on .NETNuke 6.2. Now, in the past, people used to complain a lot that the registration process in DNN, it used to ask too many fields. It had too many questions there. Let's have a quick look here. We have a DNN 6.2 site, and we have an old DNN 6.15. Let's hit the register on the old site, and on the new site, let's hit register as well. As you can see right away, with just an out-of-the-box DNN 6.2, we have less fields being asked during the registration. We just have 5 fields here as compared to what we have 7 fields here in the old registration. Now, which one is missing here? Actually, we have first name and last name on the old site, and we don't have first name and last name here out of the box. Now, it used to be that for you to be able on the older DNN sites to be able to customize the user registration, well, you do have a few options. You can actually add more fields, which at the end of the day, it will increase friction and you're gonna have less registration. The more fields you ask, the less people you will have filling that form. Then in the past, the option that you had was a module like dynamic registration, which would replace the default registration module of DNN, and you could do things like, instead of asking for username, just ask for email address and put the email as the username. So you had a lot of flexibility with a module like this, like dynamic registration. Now, some of the features of dynamic registration are now built into .NETNuke 6.2. Now, it doesn't mean that dynamic registration is no longer useful. It is very useful. There are plenty of features that go beyond and above just what the new registration in DNN 6.2 brings. So again, still very useful, but in this particular aspect of being able to customize better and remove and reduce the number of fields that you ask, you can do that now out of the box with DNN 6.2. Let's have a look at that. Let's have a look how we can do that. How we can go even one step above. Right now, again, we just have 5 fields being asked on DNN 6.2. How can we decrease this even more? How can we play around with the new registration options on DNN 6.2? Let's log into the site as super user. And now let's go under admin site settings. Let's build a scenario here. Let's say that we want to get rid of the username and email address. How can we do that? Here on the site settings, let's go to user account settings, and then we have a lot of new options here. If we scroll down, the first one that we see is registration form type, which can be standard or custom. Now, let's not touch custom for now. Let's just stick to standard for a bit, because even with the standard one, we have a lot of options there. Now, the next option that we see here is use email address as username. So I have just opened here Internet Explorer, and I loaded our site. I'm gonna go to our DNN 6.2 site, and I'm gonna hit register. Now, the first thing that I want to accomplish to reduce even further the number of fields that are asked here, the number of questions, let's get rid of username, and let's just use the email address as the quote-unquote the new username. It will be the new field that will be used to allow the user to log into the site. So again, we're gonna get rid of username, and we're gonna just use email address. Let's go back to the backend, and to do that we just need to hit this option, use email address as username. So when we check this option, and we save, of course, update. Let's go back there in the front end as we are not logged in here. If we refresh, you're gonna see now that there's only the number of fields have been reduced and the username has appeared. We just have email address now. Now, again, email address will be the identifier of the users for our site, the way it's configured right now. Now, the ordered fields here are a bit messy. I mean, we are asking for password and confirm password first. We can rearrange those fields, but let's hold on to that for a second. One thing that you can observe here is that we are no longer, out of the box, we are no longer asking for first name and last name for the user registration. We are just asking for display name. Now, how can we, let's say if you do need to ask for first name, last name, how can you do that? Even though we're gonna be adding more fields, but there must be a way that you can ask that. And yes, there is. Let's go back to the backend again. And if we have a look here under display name format, it's empty right now out of the box, which means there's no formatting predefined, and the registration form will ask for the display name. Now, if you have a look here in the little help, you can build a display name format to display the name, and you can use tokens to set up the new display name. So I just set up here those tokens. I put them here together. You can see first name and last name, and you can see that they are around brackets. So this means that they are tokens to be replaced here. Now, if you do populate the display name format, what will happen is that the registration will no longer ask for display name, but instead it will ask now for first name and last name. Let's check this. Let's just save. Let's go back to our front end here. And again, you see that display name here. If I refresh the page, now display name is no longer asked. Now we do have first name and last name. So again, if you want to reduce the number of fields, you may just want to have the display name. If you need more detailed information, you may want to break it down into first name and last name, or even you may want just to keep display name. And when the user is logged in, eventually they might fill the first name and last name in their user profile. But so again, try to keep it with less friction as possible to make it simple for users to register. This is the end of part 1 of the video on the new registration settings of DNN 6.2.